The discarded vessel. The Valkyrie docking master's face contorted with what passed for a smirk among his species, his six eyes blinking in an asynchronous pattern that humans had learned to recognize as amusement. Lieutenant Commander Maya Chen stood ramrod straight, refusing to give him the satisfaction of seeing her reaction. "This is the vessel the Alliance has assigned to your species." The Valkyrie gestured with three of his upper limbs toward the ship docked at the farthest, least prestigious berth of Nexus Station. "How appropriate." Maya said nothing, maintaining her professional demeanor despite the insult. 3 years serving as humanity's representative in the Galactic Alliance had taught her when to speak, and when silence was the better option. The ship before them, officially designated as the Gas Endurance, was an outdated Valkyrie light cruiser that had seen better days several decades ago. Its hull plating was discolored and patched in numerous places. One of its 4 engine nacelles was visibly misaligned. Maya had reviewed the specifications during her transit to Nexus Station. The vessel was 2 generations behind current Alliance technology. "The Council's generosity knows no bounds," she finally replied, the diplomatic response she'd been trained to give regardless of circumstances. "Humanity is grateful for this opportunity to contribute more directly to Alliance security." The docking master's chelicera clicked rapidly, the Valkyrie equivalent of derisive laughter. "Indeed, the Endurance is scheduled for decommissioning. Your species saved it from the recyclers. Perhaps you can turn it into one of your, what do you call them, museums?" Maya picked up her duffel bag and nodded curtly. "If you'll excuse me, I need to inspect my command." As she walked up the boarding ramp, Maya could feel the Valkyrie's multiple eyes on her back. Humanity had joined the Galactic Alliance only 15 years ago, discovered by a routine survey mission at the edge of Alliance space. While officially welcomed as the 37th species in the Interstellar Coalition, humans had quickly found themselves at the bottom of the unspoken but rigid hierarchy. The airlock cycled, and Maya stepped into what was now her ship. The interior matched the exterior, outdated technology, dim lighting, and the lingering scent of the previous crew's biochemistry. A lone figure waited in the corridor, a tall human with dark skin and close-cropped gray hair. "Commander Chen," he said, snapping a salute. "Chief Engineer Malcolm Reynolds, reporting for duty." Maya returned the salute. "At ease, Chief. Status report." Reynolds grimaced. "It's worse than the specs suggested, Commander. Life support is functional but inefficient. Propulsion is operating at 62% of rated capacity. Weapons systems," he shook his head. "Let's just say we'd be better off throwing rocks at any hostiles." "And the crew?" "Arriving over the next 48 hours. 12 in total, including us." Reynolds hesitated. "They're all, well, they're not exactly the Alliance's finest." Maya nodded, unsurprised. "They're like us. Troublemakers, misfits, or just humans who spoke their minds one too many times to the wrong alien." "The island of misfit toys," Reynolds said with a wry smile. "This assignment is basically exile. Or opportunity." Maya ran her hand along a corroded wall panel. "Show me the engine room first. I want to see exactly what we're working with." As they walked through the corridors, Maya noted dozens of inefficiencies and problems, but also possibilities. The Valkyrie had designed their ships with redundant systems and significant empty space, a reflection of their evolutionary history as hive creatures. For humans, raised on Earth with limited resources in space, such inefficiency was anathema. The engine room was a cavernous chamber dominated by a pulsing reactor core that emitted a sickly green glow. "Fusion reactor," Reynolds explained. "Primitive by current Alliance standards, but reliable. The Valkyrie replaced these 20 years ago with quantum fold drives." Maya circled the reactor, her mind already calculating possibilities. "What if we reconfigured it, stripped out the redundant safety systems, and rerouted power directly?" Reynolds looked alarmed. "That would violate at least 6 Alliance engineering protocols. The efficiency gain would be substantial, but the risk would be ours," Maya finished. Not theirs. This ship is officially human property now, correct? Technically, yes, but then we can modify it as we see fit. Maya's eyes gleamed with determination. The Alliance expects us to limp along in this obsolete vessel, confirming their biases about humanity's inferiority. I say we show them what humans do best: adapt and improve. Over the next week, as the rest of the crew arrived, Maya shared her vision. Each new arrival had a similar story, talented but deemed unsuitable for prestigious positions within the Alliance fleet due to their human tendency to question, innovate, or challenge established protocols. Lieutenant Sophia Kazami, weapons specialist, had been disciplined for suggesting modifications to standard Alliance targeting systems. Ensign Raj Patel, navigation officer, had been removed from a promising assignment after demonstrating a shortcut through a particularly dangerous asteroid field that violated Alliance navigation doctrine. Each of them brought skills, ideas, and a distinct human perspective that the Alliance had systematically devalued. And each of them embraced Maya's vision with increasing enthusiasm. "We're not going to just fix this ship," Maya told them during their first official crew meeting. "We're going to transform it." The transformation began immediately. Working around the clock in shifts, they systematically dismantled systems deemed essential by Alliance standards, but redundant to human engineering perspectives. They reconfigured the power grid, consolidated life support, and repurposed entire sections of the vessel. The engine room underwent the most dramatic change. Reynolds and his engineering team stripped away layers of safety systems, rerouted power conduits, and modified the reactor in ways that would have horrified Alliance engineers. "The power output is up 43%, Reynolds reported after the first week of modifications, "and we've barely started." The weapons systems, originally consisting of outdated pulse cannons, were completely removed. In their place, Kazami installed a system of her own design, smaller, focused energy projectors that could be precisely calibrated on the fly. "Less raw power," she explained, "but infinitely more versatile. We can modulate the beam frequency to target specific systems or penetrate shields at their resonant frequencies." Alliance inspectors arrived 2 weeks into the modifications. The Valkyrie official, senior engineer Trazvik, moved through the ship with increasing agitation, his appendages twitching as he noted the extensive changes. "This is completely unacceptable," he finally declared, confronting Maya on the bridge. "You've violated 17 different Alliance engineering protocols. The power system alone is operating well beyond safety parameters." Maya remained calm. "We've reviewed the Treaty of Admission carefully, senior engineer. As humanity's first independent vessel within the Alliance, we're permitted to implement our own standards as long as we don't compromise overall Alliance security. These modifications compromise safety." "Our safety," Maya corrected, "which we've deemed an acceptable risk. Unless you can point to a specific treaty violation that endangers other Alliance members, these modifications are within our rights." The Valkyrie's facial appendages fluttered in frustration. He knew she was technically correct. "The Council will hear about this, Commander." "I certainly hope so," Maya replied with a smile. After the inspector departed, Navigation Officer Patel approached Maya. "Commander, while reconfiguring the sensor array, I detected something unusual in the tertiary power coupling." Maya followed him to a small auxiliary control room, where he brought up a holographic display. "There," he pointed to a fluctuating energy pattern. "The power coupling is generating a quantum resonance effect I've never seen before." "Is it dangerous?" "No," Patel said, his eyes wide with excitement. "It's remarkable. The interaction between our modified reactor and the original Valkyrie materials is creating a subspace field modulation." Reynolds, who had joined them, stared at the readings. "That's impossible. The energy requirements for subspace manipulation are enormous." "Yet there it is," Patel insisted. "Small but definitely present. If we could amplify it, we could potentially create a propulsion system more advanced than anything in the Alliance." Maya finished, understanding the implications immediately. Over the next month, they focused on developing what they came to call the resonance drive. Working in secret, they constructed a prototype system that channeled the quantum resonance effect into a controlled propulsion mechanism. Alliance officials continued to visit, each departing with reports of the humans' bizarre modifications. The ship no longer resembled its original Valkyrie design. Streamlined, efficient, with systems integrated in ways the compartmentalized thinking of other Alliance species had never considered. What they couldn't see, what Maya and her crew carefully concealed, was the resonance drive taking shape in a shielded section of the engine room. Initial tests suggested it could propel the ship at speeds that would make the most advanced Alliance vessels seem like primitive rockets by comparison. "We're ready for a full-scale test," Reynolds reported 6 weeks after the discovery. "The mathematical models suggest we could achieve transit speeds at least 5 times faster than current Alliance technology." Maya nodded, examining the final modifications. "Schedule the test for—" The ship's communication system interrupted her. "Commander," Lieutenant Kazemi's voice came through, tense with urgency. "Priority message from Alliance Command." Maya hurried to the bridge where a holographic projection showed an Alliance admiral, a member of the insectoid pterozyl species. "Commander Chen." The admiral chittered, mandibles clicking with agitation. "We have received reports of a Krell battle group approaching the Epsilon Eridani colony. All available vessels are being directed to intercept, but the nearest conventional force is 3 days away." Maya's blood ran cold. The Krell, a predatory species from beyond Alliance space, had been attacking isolated colonies for years. Epsilon Eridani was one of humanity's first extrasolar settlements, home to over 30,000 people. "The Endurance is less than 16 hours from Epsilon Eridani at standard speed," the admiral continued. "You are to proceed immediately to evacuate essential personnel only. Do not, under any circumstances, engage the Krell. Your vessel is not combat capable." "Understood, Admiral." Endurance responding immediately. As the communication ended, Maya turned to her bridge crew. Their expressions mirrored her own determination. "Plot a course for Epsilon Eridani," she ordered Patel, "and prepare the resonance drive for its first real test." Proving ground. The Endurance dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Epsilon Eridani system, its experimental resonance drive powering down with a gentle pulse. The journey had taken just under 4 hours instead of the expected 16, validating their theories about the new propulsion system. On the bridge, Maya studied the tactical display with growing concern. 3 Krell warships hung in orbit around the human colony, their distinctive barbed silhouettes unmistakable. The planet's orbital defense platforms were already disabled, and energy signatures indicated the colony's ground shields were under heavy bombardment. "Status report," Maya demanded, her voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. "Resonance drive functioning beyond expectations," Chief Engineer Reynolds reported from the engine room. "Power systems stable at 94% capacity." "Weapons online," Lieutenant Kazami added from the tactical station. "Energy projectors charged and ready." "Communications from the surface," Ensign Dulles announced. "Colonial Governor Harriman is requesting immediate assistance. They've begun evacuations, but estimate only 30% of the colonists can reach the emergency shelters before their shields fail." Maya considered their options. The Alliance Admiral's orders had been explicit. Evacuate essential personnel only. Avoid engagement with the Krell. But leaving thousands of civilians to die while they saved a select few was unthinkable. "Open a channel to the colony," Maya ordered. "Governor Harriman, this is Lieutenant Commander Chen of the Alliance vessel Endurance. We're moving to engage the Krell forces. Continue your evacuation to the emergency shelters." "Engage." The governor's voice cracked with disbelief. "Commander, our last update indicated the Endurance was a decommissioned light cruiser. The Krell have 3 heavy warships. Trust me, Governor, this isn't a standard light cruiser anymore." Maya closed the channel and turned to her crew. "Battle stations. Lieutenant Patel, plot an approach vector that keeps us between the Krell and the colony. Lieutenant Kazami, prepare targeting solutions on the lead Krell vessel. Focus on their weapons systems. As the crew moved with practiced efficiency, Maya activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the commander. In approximately 3 minutes, we will engage 3 Krell warships in defense of the Epsilon Eridani colony. This isn't the mission the Alliance assigned us, but it's the one 30,000 human lives depend on. Everything we've built, everything we've modified, was for this moment. Let's show the galaxy what humans can do. The Endurance accelerated toward the planet, its profile on Krell sensors likely appearing as nothing more than a small support vessel. That misconception was their first advantage. They'd spotted us, Kazami reported. The smaller vessels are breaking off to intercept. Hold course, Maya ordered. Deploy countermeasures on my mark. The 2 Krell interceptors streaked toward the Endurance, their weapon systems powering up for what they likely expected to be a quick destruction of an insignificant target. Mark, Maya commanded when the interceptors were just within weapons range. What happened next would later be described in Alliance reports as tactical innovation outside established parameters. The Endurance released a cloud of seemingly inert particles, actually nanoscale devices developed by the ship's science officer from repurposed medical technology. As the Krell vessels passed through the cloud, the nanites attached to their hulls and began systematically interfering with external sensor arrays and weapons targeting systems. The interceptor's initial volley of energy weapons fired wide, missing the Endurance completely. Phase 2, Maya ordered. Lieutenant Kazami activated the ship's modified weapons systems. Instead of the broad-spectrum energy blasts typical of Alliance weapons, the Endurance fired precisely calibrated beams that struck the first interceptor at exactly the resonant frequency of its shield generators. The shields collapsed instantly, followed by secondary beams that disabled its propulsion systems. The second interceptor attempted evasive maneuvers, but Paddle had anticipated its trajectory based on known Krell tactical doctrine. The Endurance was already positioned perfectly, its weapons finding their mark with surgical precision. Within moments, both interceptors were drifting, disabled but not destroyed. Main warship is altering course, Paddle reported. They're breaking off their attack on the colony to engage us. The massive Krell vessel turned ponderously toward them, its size dwarfing the Endurance by a factor of 10. Energy readings indicated it was powering up its main weapon systems, planet-killer technology that could reduce continents to ash. They think we're a standard Alliance vessel, Maya noted. They'll expect us to follow conventional tactics, maintain distance, and exchange fire from maximum range. She leaned forward in her command chair. Let's disappoint them. Reynolds, bring the resonance drive to emergency power. Patel, plot a point-blank approach vector. Reynolds' voice came through with concern. Commander, the resonance drive hasn't been tested at full power in combat conditions. No time like the present, Chief, Maya replied. Execute. The Endurance surged forward with impossible speed, its resonance drive creating a subspace envelope that distorted conventional sensors. To the Krell vessel, it would appear as if the human ship had simply vanished, only to reappear moments later directly alongside their massive hull. All weapons target their primary power distribution nodes, Maya ordered. Fire. The Endurance's energy projectors fired in a synchronized pattern, each beam precisely calibrated to bypass the Krell vessel's shields by exploiting microscopic fluctuations in their shield harmonics, a technique developed by Kazami after studying captured Krell technology. The effect was immediate and devastating. Secondary explosions cascaded along the Krell warship's hull as power systems overloaded. Its massive weapons powered down, and internal systems began failing in sequence. They're launching escape pods, Kazami reported, surprise evident in her voice. The Krell never retreat. They've never encountered humans before, Maya replied. Governor Harriman, this is the Endurance. The Krell threat has been neutralized. What's your status? Commander, the governor's voice was thick with emotion. You've just saved 30,000 lives. Our shields were down to 12%. How did you? What kind of ship are you flying? Maya smiled. A human one. Governor, continue your evacuation to the shelters as a precaution. We'll maintain position until Alliance reinforcements arrive. The bridge crew worked in efficient silence, monitoring the disabled Krell vessels and the colony below. It was only when Alliance reinforcements arrived 3 days later that the full impact of what they'd accomplished began to register. Admiral Vextall of the Terrazil himself came aboard the Endurance, his compound eyes taking in the extensively modified vessel with obvious shock. Commander Chen, the Admiral began, his translator struggling to convey the complex emotions in his chittering speech. You were explicitly ordered not to engage the Krell. I was ordered to evacuate essential personnel, Maya corrected respectfully. Assessment of the situation upon arrival indicated that compliance with those orders would have resulted in the loss of approximately 25,000 human lives. I made a tactical decision based on the capabilities of my vessel. Capabilities that were never reported to Alliance Command, the Admiral noted, gesturing to a datapad containing the inspection reports. This vessel bears little resemblance to the light cruiser assigned to your species. These modifications, he paused, mandibles working as he searched for the right words. They violate numerous Alliance protocols. They save 30,000 lives, Maya responded simply. The Admiral's compound eyes fixed on her. The resonance drive. Our sensors detected its activation. The principles behind it are unprecedented. Maya nodded. A discovery made by my crew. The interaction between your technology and our modifications created something new. Something that allowed a supposedly obsolete light cruiser to defeat 3 Krell warships with minimal damage. The Admiral finished. The Alliance Council is concerned about the implications. Concerned that humans might have technology superior to the established species. Maya asked directly. The Admiral's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of discomfort. The Alliance functions on balance, Commander. New technologies are supposed to be shared, evaluated, gradually integrated. We would have followed that process if we'd been treated as equals from the beginning, Maya pointed out. Instead, humanity was given the dregs of the fleet and expected to be grateful. We adapted, as humans always do. There was a long silence as the Admiral processed this. Finally, he spoke. The Council has 2 options, Commander. They can declare your modifications in violation of treaty and confiscate this vessel, or they can recognize human ingenuity as a valuable contribution to the Alliance. And which option are you recommending, Admiral? The Admiral's compound eyes seemed to study her with new respect. The Krell have been the greatest threat to the Alliance for 3 generations. No single vessel has ever defeated 3 of their warships simultaneously. He paused. The Council has authorized me to offer humanity a full technological partnership within the Alliance. Your crew will assist in developing these innovations for broader implementation. The Endurance will be the first of a new class of vessels. Maya couldn't hide her surprise. That's unexpected. Perhaps, the Admiral chittered, but then, humans have proven to be consistently unexpected. It appears to be your species' greatest strength. As the Admiral departed, Maya stood on the bridge of the Endurance, looking out at the planet they had saved and the disabled Krell vessels, now being studied by Alliance science ships. An obsolete light cruiser, deemed barely worth the resources to maintain, had become the most advanced vessel in Alliance space, not through superior alien technology, but through human ingenuity, determination, and the willingness to challenge established thinking. Orders, Commander. Lieutenant Patel asked from his station. Maya smiled. Set course for Nexus Station, Lieutenant. I believe we have some redesigns to share with the Alliance. The Endurance powered up its resonance drive, disappearing into subspace with a flash of energy that Alliance sensors struggled to track. The first of many innovations that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy.